ways in which these large language models are being used is for therapy, companionships. Imagine how much personal information is being shared.
When you did your research on AI, of course, in Zambia, you found that most people are using it to consume. How can we move from that mindset from just consumers to people who are using it to create and build and research?
I think it's important to use them in a way that's going to enable you from a learning perspective, from an innovation perspective. So use it as sort of a core partner in the process, not as it taking lead on the process. Private sector, we also need to support academia. Real use cases, what are the problems that we have in Zambia? It could be financial inclusion. It could be increasing food security, being able to combat cholera, knowing there's likelihood of a cholera outbreak so that even before it occurs, there's mitigants in place. The State of AI reports collaborated with some great minds, of course, Bongo Hive, Zikta. Some of the interesting key insights that we got were how AI is being utilized. So I think over 90% of the respondents are using AI. The other insight now was how many of you know a locally developed AI tool? I think only 10% of the respondents were able to give a local developed tool, which was worrying because if you look at our levels of consumerism versus development, a huge gap. That gave us the insight that there's more that needs to be done in terms of research and development and innovation. So I think it's important that women start showing interest and diversity is encouraged right from the school, from primary school. Women are encouraged to get in the STEM so that we don't have these disparities that we're seeing now in the field where we have more men developing, more men as regulators. That gender disparity was one of the key insights.
So before we dive into the conversation, a quick reminder. Most of you are watching without subscribing. So if this podcast adds value to you, press that subscribe button, leave a comment, or share it with somebody who might benefit from this conversation. It helps us grow the Duwit community, and it also makes sure you don't miss the next conversation. Hi, Pendo.
Hi.
How are you?
Is this us starting?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm well.
You found your way here?
Yes, after going around seconds. So I don't know Lusaka.
Yeah.
I do know Lusaka, but this is my first time actually coming to this side of Lusaka. So I usually use common landmarks. So if you tell me Cosmopolitan Mall, Kafua Road, those I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How come? You've been in Lusaka for a while, right?
Yeah, since 2017. Don't ask me how, but yeah.
It's always been work, home, or
Yeah, I think
routine.
I need to explore Lusaka more.
Yeah. I love what you do, and of course we'll get into that later. But I think the first time I came across your work, I think it was through Bongo Hive, because I think you've done a number of programs with Bongo Hive. You've taught other people, also Mboyo through Mboyo as well. I know you guys were running community work of course for developers and all those people. And yeah, I was really impressed by your work. And yeah, I think I'm interested in education as well. I like giving people opportunity and accessibility to education. And so, yeah, that is something I really want to talk about, especially Ubuntu AI. I know we'll get into that, but I'm excited to talk about that. But of course, before we dive into anything else, I want you to take me back. Where were you born and what were you interested in as a kid?
Well, as far as I remember, that's all I'm going to share as far as I remember. So I was born and bred in Kalulushi, Copperbelt. I spent most of my life there, I think the Copperbelt, then I went to CBU, and then I only moved to Lusaka for professional work, career-related reasons. So, so growing up in Kalulushi, it was a very small town, quite a dormitory town, and I would always get teased that a town with one roundabout, you don't have ShopRite, so all those like we were just a very, very small town. But I think growing up in a small town as well also just shaped, there's a lot that I learned from being there. I think the value of community, because at the end of the day, you get to know, it's like, you know, everyone, not everyone, but you get to know a lot of people, like, you know, the neighbors. And as long as you've lived there for a while, your families the next family knows your family, and wherever you are, if they just hear your last name, they know, okay, I know where
you
she
say
lives,
there,
that's
I know your
her.
father.
Yes, and I think it also now closely resonates with the African way of how we live, the Ubuntu mindset. So how can we helping each other, being holding the next person's hand. If you're sick, you have your neighbors around, even just friends. You know, you're growing up in that community. So I think growing up in that setup has just also given me that sense of valuing community. I know that now, right now, we've kind of moved away from that span, and also just moving to Lusaka. I think I've had that experience of there's community, but we're not as closely knit because it's a very big town.
Yeah.
So I think that somehow shaped being in a community where you have that freedom to play around, interact with your neighbors. I think it also actually just shaped my experiences, and yeah, that was pretty much.
Okay, so now, yeah, I think I can relate as well. Because I grew up from Kasama, and we almost knew, like, if people heard your surname, they just say, "Oh yeah, is that your father,
Yeah.
Mr. Souza? Is that your father?" So I can relate to that. Then when I moved to Osaka, I think it's kind of different, especially in gated communities. It's like you don't even know your neighbor. Like
No.
it's like even no matter how long you stayed there, you never know your neighbors. Maybe you just see them, but you don't even know their name. Yeah, things
We
of
mind our own business.
yeah, and mind your own business. Yeah.
I don't know if it's a good thing. It's a good thing somehow,
Yeah,
but also a bad thing somehow. Like,
yeah, it
yeah.
has pros and cons anyway, but because you can't ask sort from your neighbors, like, no, you can't. It's like
Get your car, wake up at
yeah, find a way to find it yourself. Growing up, did you see yourself being in this space, like in the tech space?
5. To be honest, no. As far as I remember, it was, when you're young, I was in the moment, living, you're just there. You don't, of course, yes, one day you grow up and probably have a career. But I think growing up, it was just more of being present. What you have there, okay, I have school, I need to make sure that I get good grades, because I think for me, my parents were very, they encouraged me to work hard at school. So it was being present. So I need to get good grades. The why wasn't really important, but you just need to stay in school, get good grades, impress your parents, and move on. But I think as time went by, as I started becoming maybe older, maybe high school, it now became more of I need to be in school, pass, because it's not nice. Okay, well, I know failure is important, but it's not
Yeah.
nice to fail sometimes,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, but all those things, to be honest, you find that eventually they now shaped to where I am today. So I used to enjoy watching science fiction, I think particularly Spy Kids, when I was young. So it used to intrigue me, like, robots moving, spaceships flying. Like, I was just intrigued by all that. And even the robots. So, but then that all just seemed like fiction. Like, it's something that you just imagine and watch on TV. And then years later, now here we are. Like, we have touch screens, we have spaceships, we have robots that are able to do things that humans can do, right? And it's our reality. So I think when I look back and I'm here now, I'm thinking, we need to those were just things that we could imagine, but they were not possibilities, right?
Yeah.
So I always think, like, whatever you can think of or imagine, it's possible. So you need to start rethinking of things that are possible. Like, if something is like, oh, I wish I could go to the moon someday, or you just think of something. I think it's all, well, for me, what I've just had to think is it's possible. It's just that it's not happening yet. So that was one experience. I think I used to watch science fiction. I mean, I used to watch a lot of Spy Kids. So from the first, and it used to intrigue me, right? And then also I grew up with my brother. I think before I actually had siblings, it was just me and my brother. And my brother was a very curious, and he loved gadgets. So he would always play video games together. And another thing that he would do is dismantle the video game, start putting it back together. So I would always observe what he's doing. And I think just growing up with him,
Yeah.
I think also somehow did shape the path that I took. So you might think it's something small, but eventually those small things start adding up. Like, okay, I did have this experience, but this experience has somehow shaped some of the choices I've made today, both career, personal choices, etc.
Yeah, I believe that whatever we do when we're children, the influences, the people that we are with, the environments, kind of shaped who we are today. I mean, same as me. I liked cartoons. I liked to see. I was curious to know what was going on behind the scenes, like what's making the cartoon move, like the film. How do they light different places and all that? So and then later on, of course, I I went into that field where I'm now interested in cameras. I'm interested in design and all those things. Of course, you go through school, you pass your grade 12. What was that conversation like? To go to uni. Did you have it with your parents? How was that like deciding?
Um, I think I knew what I wanted at that point, and I was very independent. I think amongst my siblings, I think if I observe everyone else, I've been the most independent in terms of the decisions I make for myself. But of course, I did consult my parents, talk to them what I wanted. And they did help me. I think for me, I've always said my parents are like my first mentors, because I know that they would always want what's best for me. But sometimes I also don't always take. I also have this is what I want, and then I ask them, how can you support me? So I was in high school. I went to Ndola Girls National Technical High School. So that was also another path that somehow propelled me to get into tech. So it's a technical school. Your subjects are very technical, and the I think being at Ndola Tech, it was one of the first, if I'm not mistaken, amongst the first girls' national technical high schools, and there were high expectations from the girls there because I think for a long time at that point STEM was very male dominated, and the school was there to now how can we have more women girls in STEM and create more diversity. So even the subjects that we take there were you have computer science, you have your technical drawing, you have your additional mathematics. So that was also one preparing ground that I also appreciate. So after Ndola Tech, I was now deciding what should I study, and your parents are thinking of engineering, medicine,
Yeah.
law. My mom wanted me to be a medical doctor. Very
Yeah.
but that didn't happen. So when I went to CBU, I didn't actually want to go to CBU. I wanted to go abroad.
Oh yeah.
Yes. But the constrained finances.
Yeah.
So CBU I had that chance of getting 100% bursary. But I got 75% bursary, which was okay. So I went to CBU. My first option was medicine. My second option was computer science. I also applied to UNZA. I wanted to study law at UNZA. I don't even know how.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I applied for law, and my second option at UNZA, I don't know, I've forgotten what it is, right? But I decided to go to CBU because CBU opens. They gave me the acceptance earlier.
First.
I had my bursary. I said, you know what?
Yeah.
Let me go for what's
Yeah.
here. You never know what UNZA might have for me. And while I was at CBU, I received my acceptance letter at UNZA, but I was already at CBU and I didn't.
There's no way you're gonna start. The bursary process is.
It's
Yeah,
tedious.
you can't go through that again.
Yes. So I think after whilst I was CBU, I was now exploring what should I study. I think it's important to have career conversations in schools, like very honest ones,
Yeah.
not where you just have three options of. And I think at the time I was in high school, everyone just glorified medical doctor or a lawyer.
Yeah.
So even after graduating, that's all you're looking forward to. You're not seeing the bigger picture, right? But I think when I went to CBU, I was fortunate to be one of my lecturers encouraged me to get into computer science. To be honest, at the time I didn't even know what career options were available for me there.
Yeah.
So, but I got there, and it happened to me, to be honest. It wasn't something that I went in with, this is what I want to do. But my lecturer encouraged me to go there, and I took up that. And I think it was a good, and everything happens, like wherever you it's like you have people in your path that are there to guide you to where you're supposed to be. So I think I don't take that as it was just something that happened, but it's something that was meant to happen. So even my lecturer was someone who was placed in my path just specifically to guide me towards getting into computer science. That was the role in my path, and I'm grateful.
Yeah. For some reason, there's always just some places that you're taken to, and you always find, like, you go with confusion, and at the end of it, you find clarity and direction. And I think I've also experienced that. Of course, you're in school now. What challenges did you face there? Quick reminder: if this conversation is helping you, press that subscribe button. It's free for you, but it helps us share these stories with so many people.
I think some of the challenges I experienced while at CBU were studying because I have to clear a course. So you have so many courses. So somehow you stop enjoying the experience of learning, but you're looking at it from, you're just looking at it from the end goal.
Yeah, I need to clear.
Yes.
That's it.
But I think what maybe also how our education system was shaped is to look forward to the goal rather than the learning experience. Like, how can we experience and enjoy the process of learning, right?
When you get to uni, especially, it's like everything just fast paced, It's like you're running, like you're from this 2-hour course, you have to go into another one. It's like everything is just crazy. It's like you don't even, like, if you end up not enjoying the process because you just want to clear. Just want to make sure you clear your exams and all that and get out of uni and find a job.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't be the case. I believe learning should be enjoyable. I should be able to assimilate a topic. I should be able to know it and in and out and see how I can use it practically.
Yes, and that too as well, I think, on the practical side.
Yeah.
Computer science is a lot of practical, but if you're doing a lot of writing, and it becomes also like you can't connect what's in the industry versus what you're learning. So that, I think, is also important to just keep the students in touch with what's
out there.
Yeah.
I think there's a big disconnect there. I think I remember in one of the lectures, I think it was accounts. Yeah, it was accounts. Yeah, and one of the students asked to say, okay, what are we gonna, how does this work in real life, like out there? And then the lecturer was just like, forget about real life or whatever. Just focus on this now. And I was just like, what? And I was just shocked, like, okay, this is what we're doing.
Ish, yeah. That's the gap, hey? You get into industry and you think you know it all, and then you get there and
and it's like
completely different, hey?
Yeah. What does being a data scientist mean in practice? What's your job like? How do you got your workplace, and what exactly are you doing?
Data science, I think, is often misconstrued as a career and as also just like from a professional level. So everyone just thinks it's code, graphs, algorithms that you're dealing with. But there's a human and very business-centric side to it if it's done right. Because I think if you look at it just by definition, it's answering business questions using data. So how can you add value using the data that you have, right? And it's been there for a long time, but it's just it's been wrapped in statistics.
Oh yeah.
So if you look at it, statisticians and data scientists, statisticians say it's just data science is just like statistics, but with a business heart. But a day-to-day would be, so what you're typically expecting is answering questions, and you're using data, testing hypotheses as well, and using data, so experimentation. And what I mean by answering business questions is, I'll give you a typical example. In one of my roles, one of the key metrics that would measure was retention. So if you have customers churning, a question would be, why do we have customers churning? That would come to the data science team, right? And so as a data science team, you have to start saying, okay, how can we answer this with data? So how you answer that is you look at patterns. Is there something that happened? What happened? And you have questions that you ask us, okay, what happened? Do we have maybe a product that was introduced or a product that was changed? Did we have any changes in our pricing? So you first ask certain questions that are just business questions that you just have maybe say rules of thumb. Did we have an outage? Is there something that happened in the business environment that created some instability that we have customers churning? And when did this churn start? So you plot your trends. You want to look at when did this start? Is it something that's just happened suddenly? Or is it something that has been happening gradually and we're only noticing now? So you plot your trends, you see what's going on. And then you also now look at your data. Is your data telling you something that maybe you can't see from, or that maybe from maybe the context, from the business context, you can't really answer? So you go into your data, you start looking at it from a trend analysis. You can also do like grouping who are the customers who are churning. Do they have any similarities? And what are those similarities pointing to? And then that way you get to now start sort of prescribing how can we control this and ensure that we retain these customers. So a prescription would be, let's give them some freebies to bring them back. Another one would be, let's engage them and get feedback or information of why. That's one business question that you're answering.
I've seen that you're using a lot of data. Of course, you're trying to figure out the solution to why certain things are happening using data. So it also means that you work closely with the market teams and sales teams, right?
Well, I have worked with, I think in one of the roles that I had, I actually was working very closely with the marketing team and also the product team. Yes. So so it was more on the customer value management. So I'd always work with marketing, products, and IT as well.
Also, IT is developing solutions, so you're helping them with that data. And if it's a sales team, okay, this is not what we're doing, so it help them in that way, right?
Yes, and to your point, it's a very cross-functional role.
Oh yeah.
Such that you can't work in silos. Everything you're doing is either spanning across different functional areas. Yeah.
Data and putting everything together. So it involves a lot of numbers and graphs. Does it?
Yes.
Okay.
The numbers is on the backside, but I always say that what the people have to see is a story.
Yeah. So you have to make it simple for them enough to understand.
Tell a story, because if you just go with numbers, people feel intimidated. So you want to tell a compelling story. What happened? Why did it happen? What should we do? Or rather, so what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ubuntu AI. What's the story behind it?
That's one of the, when people say purpose, I think I consider the Ubuntu AI community as that for me. And why it's important, like the story behind it is, I have been a firm believer of the power or the value of when people come together, what they're able to accomplish. And also the spirit of Ubuntu. I told you my community coming back from, So what what the Ubuntu AI community is about, I think our community is very rooted in inclusivity. And our goal is to advance machine learning, AI, data-driven technologies overall in Zambia. And how we do that is through collaboration, knowledge sharing. We do have conversations, open debates, of course, in a very respectful but objective manner. Just drive and be able to have open ideas about how we can move forward. So we have, I think Yassine, Joseph, and myself have been enabling the community. And by enabling, I mean I don't like to think of myself as, this is a company, but we want to think of it as we're enabling. So everyone is part of the community and everyone has a role to play in growing that community. It's a not-for-profit, by the way.
Yeah.
So we look at it from, I think if you look at it from a perspective of technology, Zambia usually lags behind because of resources. Our ecosystem is still growing. It's not as mature as other countries that are, if you look at the map, that are doing extremely well in terms of technology. So what you see, what those have in common is they have active ecosystems that are growing. And so from an Ubuntu perspective, I think what has inspired us to grow this community is, or maybe to just take you back, maybe I think you also spoke about the backstory. It started as the Zambian AI community, which Yasin was predominantly running with. So after some time, I we came back to the drawing table. Yasin, Joseph, and myself. Yasin actually approached us and said, "How can we make this grow?" And we said, "Let's rebrand to Ubuntu to bring us the human sense to it. You know, if you just say Zambian AI community, it feels
Yeah.
apart, right? Like it doesn't feel, you know, when you have, it feels first of all limited
They
by
are limited.
by
Yeah.
geography, and also it doesn't have the sense of purpose. So we said, let's call it Ubuntu AI community, and we'll basically be bringing people together, academia, private sector, professionals. We're looking at it from students as well. That's academia, public sector, civil society. Let's come together and see how can we work together to advance this technology. Otherwise, we risk remaining behind. And how can we leverage our strengths to grow as well? Not everyone has the same privilege as I would have or as the next person would have. Others within the group have the privilege of being enrolled in some of the best universities in the world. Others are working at organizations that are very advanced in terms of technology, so they have a unique knowledge base. And then others are privileged to attend some of the best conferences that are AI related, right? So we all have privileges in different spheres, and others maybe not. But then, how can we, if I go out, say, for a particular conference, how can I come back and share that knowledge? How can I inspire the next person? Through that community, we've been able to achieve that. Someone needs help, they just post, because we have a WhatsApp group, post on the group, and there'll be responses. If there's an opportunity, we share within the group. People hop on them. So it just creates a sense of, I know who I can reach out to in this space if I need help. And also just having a support system. So I think our community is basically built on collaboration, the support system, and also helping others, mentorship others along the journey to get to a progressive state.
Yeah. That's something that we lack in Africa and Zambia, to be specific. I think limited resources. We don't have access to a lot of resources. I think mostly it's just the common knowledge that we have in universities. When it comes to AI, I don't think universities have caught up to that yet. I'm not sure what's going on in universities, but I think
Yeah.
with bringing different people with different experiences, they've gone outside the countries, they've seen what other people are doing, and then bringing them together. I think that's really good, and I think that's also one of the reasons why I started the Duwit podcast as well, because I also saw in the creative community. I mean, it's rare to find that you find a school for film in Zambia.
Yeah.
The ones that are there, I mean, it's just developing now, where you find just only a few schools that are offering that. So, like myself, I didn't have anybody to look up to here in my country. Who I would say is people from outside the country. Those are the people I would learn from. But coming up with something and people in the country, I think it's really helpful.
Yeah.
And I think you're doing a very fantastic job bringing all those people together.
Yeah. No, thank you. And I think to your point is we need to start building these capacities at home. And I think you're in the creative space. I'm in the tech space. Like we're all in our different areas, but I think at the end of the day, we're all working towards localizing the expertise and creating capacity within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're trying to bring also just awareness. I mean, if people in important positions in the country, if they see, oh, these people are making a lot of noise, what's going on here? And I think there'll be now more conversation to bring even like funding to those communities so that people in different areas, like people in Kasama can have access to that knowledge in
Yeah.
different areas. People who are underprivileged. When you talk of STEM as well, we're talking of the girl child also being included in that space as well.
Precisely.
You have also one of the contributors to the state of AI in Zambia. That was in 2024. What key insights stood out to you? Quick reminder, if this conversation is helping you, press that subscribe button. It's free for you, but it helps us share these stories with so many people.
State of AI report. So that was, I think, one of the reports that I was proud and very passionate to work on. We collaborated with some great minds, of course, Bongo Hive, Zikta, who are in this space, right? And yes, I think that was the year when the national AI strategy for Zambia was released, and Zambia was amongst the few countries in Africa that had a strategy in place, right? As Ubuntu AI, our goal, our mission is to advance AI, right? But how can you advance it if you don't even know where you are, right, as a country? So that was a very important question, is that where are we? And how are we going to measure success? So we said, let's do a survey to get data of what's happening so that we're not working blindly or without understanding where we currently are. And that was a shared vision between Bongo Hive, Zikta, and the Ubuntu AI community. And being part of it, just shaping the process and getting to crunch the data, getting insights of what's happening. I think it was very enlightening. So we designed the survey. The target was, let's circulate it across the country, both organizations and individuals. Maybe from a demographic perspective, what we noticed was the concentration of respondents were from Lusaka, which is usually the case. So already you can see the exclusion, right? Yet we did share it widely, and was hoping to get as many respondents across the provinces, across Zambia. Nevertheless, we did get a good response rate, and some of the interesting key insights that we got were how AI is being utilized. So I think over 90% of the respondents are using AI in their day-to-day work. So, and it's not like very rare. From the reports, you see that at least weekly or once a day or multiple times a day are the majority of the respondents, and how often they're using AI. So already that gives you an idea that there is awareness and adoption. But then when we now narrow it down, what AI are they using? It's ChatGPT, Meta AI.
Yeah.
Yes, while it's good that there's awareness and use, it's also worrying. Because remember, these are not locally developed tools.
Yeah.
So we have a high consumerism when it comes to artificial intelligence. That already gives, like, it exposes, like, there's so much information that we give these large language models, asking it questions, and also the governance around artificial intelligence is still here and there. And the other insight now was, how many of you know a locally developed AI tool? I think only 10% of the respondents were able to give a local developed tool, which was worrying, because if you look at our levels of consumerism versus development, a huge gap.
Yeah.
So already that gave us the insight that there's more that needs to be done in terms of research and development and innovation. So that's an area that I think, from a policymaker side, public, private, academia, they need to come together and look at how can we invest in research and development. It's not cheap. How can we ensure that students are producing quality research that makes it to the global stages? How can we start innovating in organizations? How can we support innovation? And by supporting innovation, is failure should also be accounted for, because this is a new technology.
Yeah.
Don't expect everything to succeed. So we need to start having multiple experimentations with this technology and have enough budget to say, if it fails, we'll learn and improve. But what we currently have is, our research and development is still lagging in universities. There's need to fund and take and invest in that space if we have to start developing our locally AI tools. And then another key insight was female participation. I think that's something that I'm passionate about is inclusivity. We had 19% of the respondents, which was about the absolute number, I'll have to check, but 19% of the respondents were female. The rest, men.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So that already gives you an idea that there's work that needs to be done to encourage women to participate, even just in a survey, And this wasn't just limited to STEM people.
Yeah.
Everyone is, AI is for everyone. But then if we have only 19% of female respondents, meaning the interest already, you can tell that the level of interest is very low.
Yeah.
And the next question that should follow is why, right? And what that now does is you're shaping a technology and leaving others behind. What we're already seeing is how AI, because AI learns from data. So if you're not a developer, you're not a tester, you're not a regulator, as a human being, you unconsciously are going to be more biased towards the people that you're more familiar with. So as a man, you only think of, oh yeah, this is working. You won't think about the dynamics of a woman, which is understandable in some instances because certain things are only unique to women.
Yeah.
And as a regulator, you won't think beyond a certain margin, right? But if you have women part of the table, they'll come and give you an insight and say, have we thought of it in this way? As a woman, this. And then you all come to the table and say, we did think about this. How can we now ensure that this technology serves women and also serves men or serves this underrepresented group and ensure that it's fair and square, right? Yeah. So that's through testing. So you might test the technology, you find that, okay, it's able to identify men more than women,
Exactly.
Like for these maybe biometrics, right? Or even in hiring, right? I think there's been some cases that we've seen where for tech roles, artificial intelligence is used to do the screening and it penalizes resumes with word women in it or female in it because probably it wasn't tested on adequate female data. And obviously it's also correlating that if woman is probably more suitable for these roles as opposed to technology roles, etc. So I think it's important that women start showing interest and diversity is encouraged right from the school, from primary school. Women are encouraged to get into STEM so that we don't have these disparities that we're seeing now in the field where we have more men developing, more men as regulators and also leading the space. So I think that gender disparity was one of the key insights. And then maybe just to quickly go over them, I think also the infrastructure, there's a lot of infrastructure gaps, energy. Artificial intelligence requires
a lot of,
our connectivity as well. So computing power, we don't have servers, and also somehow we have that limitations of processing data in the clouds. So already on the infrastructure side, there's a constraint. The cost as well is the upfront cost of AI are not very cheap when it comes to building. So I think those cardinal areas need to be addressed, maybe from an insight perspective. But of course, there are also opportunities. But I think I'll leave that for the next segment.
That's really interesting. And I think just to think about it, I think those are like quite obvious when you just look around to say like there's, of course, it's more male dominated. The respondents are more from Lusaka than the other provinces. But I think there needs to be more awareness and just to bring more people on board, especially people in the important offices, in the higher offices, to get involved as well. Then at the same time, you are interested in diversity, inclusion, including more women to be in this field. Yeah, so somebody may not, it's not always, in one of your posts you said that it's not that you have to study computer science to get into the tech field. What are those steps that you think somebody who has not studied that can get into the tech space?
Yeah, you are right. Actually, you don't necessarily need to have a computer science background to get into these data-driven professions, right? Data like AI, machine learning. So I think what's important is starting where you are. I think domain expertise is one of the most underrated skills. Think of it this way. Health is one area where data analytics, data science, AI is showing promising impact, including agriculture, right? So in that health, let's go to the health sector. I am a data scientist. If you take me to the health sector, I'll have to learn a lot in order for me to be effective in implementing solutions. But if you have a doctor who understands, say you have you have this machine learning model which is able to detect whether a scan is showing maybe a cancer tumor or not. For you to test that, and a doctor will read and say, "This is it."
Yeah.
Right? They know how to. I can't read a scan. So if a machine produces the results, the doctor will read and say, "Now this is not." They'll be able to communicate. So think of AI as your assistant
In your role.
in your role.
Yeah.
So you are the expert. And I think we need to make it very clear that AI isn't supposed to be superior to a human. I know we're saying artificial general intelligence where it surpasses human intelligence. Well, we can argue about that, but I think we need to take it as it's a smart, we can't take away the smartness of these technologies. But what's important is to be aware that I have an assistant that's smart, but I am the master. So whatever output that AI gives me, I have to read and be able to understand. So now imagine if you have an assistant and they give you work and you don't understand,
Yeah.
how effective will you be in being the supervisor or master, right? So ultimately, as like I mentioned, you start from being the domain expert. What are we looking out for? What are important questions that we're answering? And then you'll be able to now explain and apply things in context. And then you start learning now, okay, what do I need for me to be able to detect if this is cancerous or not cancerous? And now with artificial intelligence, code is you can learn very fast how to write code. Like you just have to learn the syntax, how it works, the learning has been enhanced, right? And you can even, as long as you understand the code flow structure, you can write a prompt, you get your code, run it. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to understand the output and be able to question the output. Is this correct or not? So I think it's important to start with what you know and then start building on top of that. What else do I need to do? Technical skills. What are the important technical skills at this point? Learn, refine, and keep advancing.
So how can people be a part of Ubuntu, the Ubuntu AI community?
It's simple. We have a LinkedIn page called Ubuntu AI Community. And we also have a WhatsApp group, which is sort of closed, but we do admit individuals based on, once they follow a LinkedIn page, they can inbox us and we add them to the group. So we try to limit the WhatsApp group to just avoid having
Yeah, WhatsApp groups are like
so we try to limit them to just people within the enthusiasts and the profession, so that the conversations are also in line with the group's objective.
Yeah. I think it's really important to vet WhatsApp groups these days, because you'll find somebody posting they're selling phones or something.
Yes.
Yeah. Randomly. Okay. So the process is follow you on LinkedIn, and then from there they inbox you to admit them to the WhatsApp group, right?
Yes. So we of course do a bit of screening, but not very stringent. We just do it for purpose of ensuring that we don't spam the group, and also we have the right people on the platform.
Pendo, this is called Duwit. Here we don't just talk. We're gonna get on a hands-on segment where we're going to focus on large language models, LLMs, and prompt engineering. We're just going to scratch the level. We won't go into details. So you're just gonna teach us on how basic prompting, how you can get the most out of the AI tools. Are you ready? All right, let's do it. So you're gonna walk us through the practical example on how to get the best out of an LLM, which is large language models. So for example, ChatGPT, Gemini, Cloud AI, Perplexity AI. So you're just gonna give us an example on how to get the most out of large language models.
So I think for large language models, like I think I already mentioned that we need to think of them as assistants, and you are the one who's driving them, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to give them context as you're prompting. So you want to give them a context of what are you talking about. So you don't think of it as it can read your mind and say, write me an email to my boss, you know? So I think it's important to give them context. Say if you want to write an email to your boss, what are you trying to say to your boss? So I'm trying to ask for maybe additional budget because we've experienced inflation and the initial budget that was approved has not been able to meet the needs of our department or our marketing budget, for example, right? And then you also tell it, give it a role. Like act as maybe say the head of marketing, right? Or act as whichever role that you're prompting for. So in this case, maybe marketing, right? So give it a role, act as a head of marketing, give it context. Write an email to my boss requesting for additional budget because of the inflation that we've experienced over the last 2 months. We are unable to cover the marketing costs for the organization, which is leading to maybe reduced customer maybe reach, and of course reduced customer reach somehow maybe speaks into your failing to achieve your strategic objectives. So that's one way. And also keeping it simple. Sometimes we put so much information that we confuse the LLM. And we also want to put, I think there was the last time the OpenAI founder was saying, don't say please or just go straight to the point. Because that's a lot of talk. You're using compute power and so you want to make sure that you brief. So just keywords, you're brief, give it a role, you're concise as well, and also iterate.
Yeah.
So try different ways and see which one works. So you might not get the best response on your first shot. So try one way, and then once it gives you, then you tell it, okay, maybe remove the EM dashes. I don't like it. Because
everybody's gonna know that I use you.
Exactly. So once it gives you your first response, you read through, and then you say, okay, what do you want different about it? Okay, remove the EM dashes. Or maybe you also give it some guardrails, like don't use words that are maybe
cliche, like those words that are common.
Yes. So you also want to iterate and also tell it what not to do. And perhaps you also want to you can also give it examples, like this is my style of writing, so that it comes out as you.
That's one of the funny things is like people were telling it please at in case maybe AI takes over in the future to remember me that I was kind to it.
Which is, well, anything is possible. So you have to be, or it doesn't leak and other than being kind, it doesn't leak your chats, because sometimes people send so many personal stuff on this.
I don't know if you saw the CEO or someone talking about how people are sharing with it like so many personal things about like relationship advice.
And interesting enough, there was a Harvard business study which said that I don't know if it's the second or top most used ways in which these large language models are being used is for therapy, companionship. So imagine how much personal information is being shared.
And you said that this information can be used against you in court or something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
That's what he said. It's like it's like they don't have like laws around that. So I guess you found guilty of something or you're charged for something, that will be used against you, like whatever you're putting in there. Thank you for that response. So you gotta give it context. Don't be vague. Make sure you give it of course, the tone of writing, and also guardrails, what it shouldn't add and what it should include. All right. Moving on to the next question. So for someone who's completely new, what's one exercise they can try today to improve their prompt engineering skills? So for somebody who's just getting started, yeah.
So I think what's important for someone who's new to prompt engineering, one exercise that I would recommend is choosing one to maybe say ChatGPT, testing across all the different, maybe Copilot, Gemini, ChatGPT, same prompt on these three different platforms, and just see what response they'll get and be able to assess which one is more, gives them closer to something that they would deem as great.
Yeah.
Once you stick to that one, two, you can also now just try to rephrase your prompt. So paraphrase it, and you notice that how the responses will be different. Same, but then perhaps I think the quality and also how overall response might be better just by paraphrasing the statement. So same thing, but just changing how you write your prompt.
When you did your research on AI, of course, in Zambia, you found that most people are using it to consume. How can we move from that mindset, from just consumers to people who are using it to create as well, to create and build and research?
Yeah, very interesting question. So I think we need to move from, like you've mentioned, from consumerism to using AI. And I think it's not bad that people are using ChatGPT. Yeah, because I think you can also still use it to innovate and develop, be able to create. So use it as a way of sort of giving us a jump start to the innovation space. But what I think is also important, like how can we move from consuming to be developers? So I think using these technologies for good. So not just them giving us the answers, like we need to work with them, like be able to, because somehow these take away your creativity if you use them in a certain way. You just take, okay, AI said this is what I'm going to adopt, right? So I think it's important to use them in a way that's going to enable you from a learning perspective, from an innovation perspective. So use it as sort of a core partner in the process, not as it taking lead on the process. But I also think it's important that from academia as well, research is taken very seriously. From the private sector, we also need to support academia, partner, real use cases, what are the problems that we have in Zambia? So financial inclusion is one of them. How can we use AI to solution for that? How can we partner with the academia, with the government to solution for one goal? It could be financial inclusion. It could be increasing food security. It could be maybe being able to combat cholera, knowing there's likelihood of a cholera outbreak, so that even before it occurs, there's mitigants in place. Be able to tell our rain patterns so that maybe the people in the agriculture space, farmers can prepare better, and all those things. So I think it's important to start thinking of what are our local challenges and how can we harness AI to solution for those. Yeah, I think that way we might make progress, and AI might become, it will, even for someone who is in Kasama, they will say, AI is actually, but then right now, if you go to Kasama, it's not working for them. It's not even working for us, right? But if we say, look, if you plant tomatoes this year, your crops will die. Plant maize, because we have this robot that we've put here, or we have this chart that is AI and is predicting what's going to happen. So you need to believe it. So how I'll just take us back a bit, how our people are set up. Back then people used to believe in these gods of the rains. So we need to now start thinking of AI as those, but if that thing, if it predicts and it comes to pass, they'll start saying, let's follow what AI is, yes, and also even cooperating with how can we feed it better data in those rural areas. So I think for it to be truly inclusive, we need to ensure that it's solving problems beyond just us using it for companionship. It should be, how can we help farmers be able to grow crops sustainably, both small scale farmers like your grandmother in Kasama, and large-scale farmers who are exporting, like the Mukushi farmers who we rely on for our exports. So, and also in the health sector, if it can predict a disease early, meaning it becomes cheaper and people get better access to health. So I think we need to start thinking of inclusivity when it comes to AI, and that means solving our real life challenges in Zambia.
Yeah, no, that's really important, and I think that's how many people need to start thinking, because I think it's also like made it it's like easy access, to the world's global knowledge, like all in one place, because AI is fed on data, and that data can be used in many different ways to do research and find out different things. I mean, if I want to start gardening now, I'm able to use ChatGPT to help me. Okay, this is what's going on. I feed it the data on what's going on and whatever. Or my plants leaves are looking yellow. What's going on here? This is what I've been doing. This is my pattern. You feed it that, it's gonna be able to help you. Yeah, it's a simple. I think it's through those simple things that we can even now start solving bigger problems that we have in the country. Thank you so much for that. That's a project breakdown. Thank you for walking us through how to use large language models, and I think people need to understand, because some some inputs are too vague.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also remember that to remove that last part ChatGPT gives you. Is this answer okay? Yeah. And another thing, one last point I think which you mentioned is important, is like don't become too lazy.
Yeah.
I was watching this reel where this guy walks into a store, and when you rely on ChatGPT to give you every answer, and then the storeman asks you, "What do you want?" Oh, you ask ChatGPT, "What do I want?" So
Exactly.
yeah. If it's an email, oh, I need to use ChatGPT to. So,
But back then, because you'd wonder how were we doing, because like you can't send out certain information. You want first run it through, like I used to do this back then without
the need.
the need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was one point ChatGPT shut down worldwide, and people like went nuts. They're just like, how are we going to live? So it's become really bad at the same time, such that we rely on it on so many things.
Yeah. Oh, I guess it's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's how technology is. Because remember, we didn't have phones at some point.
Yeah.
So now for us,
Calculators,
we're the people who were born in the computer age. But now, maybe our parents' parents can live without phones. But for us, if your phone is just off,
yeah,
it's like easy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, Pendo, thank you so much. We could go on and on, but let's go back to our conversation just to wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you, first of all, for the project breakdown. That was really helpful. I hope our audience have gained insights from that. Okay, and now just to wrap it up, it's time for the rapid fire questions.
Hey.
Yeah, short answers only, no paragraphs, no explanation, unless I tell you to do so.
Okay.
Python or R?
Python.
A book, podcast, or mentor who shaped your journey?
Lenin Sheryl Sandberg.
Dream tech project you would love to be a part of?
I think any project that is more of inclusion, AI inclusion, from a policy perspective and also from a financial inclusion perspective. So I think I would want to, so one. You said one word.
Short answer.
Okay, short answer. My short answer is from the AI inclusion from a policy perspective.
Coffee, tea, or something else that keeps you going?
Gym.
The gym?
Yeah.
What's one hobby outside of tech that people might be surprised you enjoy?
Traveling.
Traveling.
I don't know if people would be surprised, but yeah.
If you were not doing what you're doing, what career do you think you'd be in?
Modeling.
Modeling. Okay. I think that's one surprise.
Yeah.
Okay. One Zambian dish you can never say no to.
Shima with dry fish and katapa.
Okay, that's so specific. Nice. First thing you do when you need to reset after a long day?
I call my cousin. Yeah.
All right, those are the rapid fire questions. Are there any projects that you are currently working on?
Yes, currently working on the, I wouldn't call it a project, but it's an event. That's the Indaba X Zambia, which is part of the annual deep learning, like the continental deep learning Indaba, which brings together, so the deep learning Indaba brings together AI professionals, experts from academia, public, private sector, for like a week-long event where we do research showcase, learning, etc. So now they also have the nationwide, then the local ones, and Ubuntu AI is organizing the Zambian version, which is going to happen in November. So it's the first time we're hosting it in person after the pandemic. We've been hosting it virtually, but I think I'm super excited about having one in Zambia and what the outcome would be. Yeah, so I think that's one thing that we've been working on. And then the other one is on the language data. We've been collaborating with Bongo Hive and Data for Change to map out the African language, the Zambian languages. This is for the purpose of looking at who's working in the language space for artificial intelligence. As you know, right now, most of the Zambian languages are not well represented.
Yeah.
So we're trying to map out that local ecosystem and sort of start encouraging individuals to collect data and be able to build localized models.
No, awesome. That's really awesome. Looking forward to that. And of course, you'll be announcing on your socials, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which brings to the question, where can people connect with you?
So for me as an individual, LinkedIn is my primary social media. So I'm Pendo Manjele on LinkedIn.
Shine right here.
Yeah. And for Ubuntu AI, we have a LinkedIn and also a Facebook page, Meta page now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Pendo, thank you so much for coming through. This was really exciting. I think I love what you're doing and where this is going. I think we need to have more of this conversation, more of these communities, providing access to this knowledge to people that are underprivileged.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Let's do it.
Yep. Yeah. This looked like a political sign. Eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.